In the depths of your consciousness dwells a power so immense, so absolute that it transcends all human understanding. This power, which I call your wonderful human imagination, is God Himself operating in the very depths of your soul. It is through this divine faculty that you are destined to receive precisely what you need, often before you are even aware of needing it. Many of you come here seeking specific manifestations, a new home, financial abundance, a loving relationship. But I tell you this, the ultimate gift you are about to receive transcends these external desires. You are about to receive the conscious realization of your own divinity, the awakening to the God within you, which is your true fundamental need. Now let me share with you a principle that forms the foundation of everything I teach. The entire universe is a manifestation of consciousness. There is nothing but consciousness. The world that appears so solid, so real to your senses, is simply consciousness externalized. Your physical senses, magnificent as they are, deceive you into believing in the reality of a material world existing independent of your perception. But I tell you, there is no such world. The world and all that it contains is simply your consciousness pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every condition you encounter is a manifestation of your own wonderful human imagination. This truth is expressed in the ancient principle, as within, so without. Your inner world of thoughts, feelings, and assumptions is perpetually objectifying itself in your outer world of experience. Consider for a moment what this means. If the world you experience is a reflection of your consciousness, then to change your world, you need only change your consciousness. This is the divine secret hidden in plain sight throughout the ages. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, said Paul. He understood that transformation begins not in the world of effects, but in the world of causes, in consciousness itself. Many of you struggle and strain against circumstances, fighting desperately to change conditions, unaware that those very conditions are but shadows, reflections of a state of consciousness you have unwittingly accepted as real. You are beating against the waves while ignoring the tide that produces them. Tonight I invite you to shift your attention from the outer to the inner, from effects to cause, from the world of shadows to the world of substance. For in doing so, you will receive what you truly need, the conscious awareness of your creative power, the realization that you are the operant power in your universe. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this principle. A dear friend of mine, a gentleman in his 50s, had spent decades pursuing financial security through traditional means, hard work, careful investment, prudent saving. Despite his diligence, he found himself facing financial ruin during an economic downturn. His business was failing, his investments had collapsed, and he saw no way forward. In desperation, he came to me seeking advice on practical financial strategies. But what he needed was not another financial plan. What he needed was a fundamental shift in consciousness. I shared with him the principle I'm sharing with you tonight. That his outer world was simply his consciousness objectified. That to change his circumstances, he needed to change his concept of himself. I instructed him to construct a simple scene that would imply the fulfillment of his desire, financial abundance. The scene he chose was mundane yet profound. He imagined himself sitting at his desk, opening his mail to find checks and statements reflecting abundant wealth. He imagined the feeling of relief, of security, of freedom that such abundance would bring. And most importantly, he imagined these feelings with such intensity that they became more real to him than the apparent reality of his circumstances. Night after night, as he fell asleep, he would enter this imaginal scene, dwelling in it, experiencing it as real, feeling the naturalness of wealth and abundance. And during his waking hours, when confronted with evidence contrary to his desire, he would silently affirm, this may be the fact, but it is not the truth. The truth is what I have felt and experienced in my imagination. Within 6 weeks, extraordinary changes began to manifest in his world. A forgotten investment suddenly yielded unexpected returns. A business opportunity emerged that perfectly aligned with his skills and resources. A relative with whom he had lost contact passed away, leaving him a substantial inheritance. Within 3 months, his financial situation had completely transformed, not through struggle and strain, but through a simple yet profound shift in consciousness. Now, you might say, but Neville, these events were coincidental. They would have happened regardless of his imaginal acts. To this I would respond, there are no coincidences in a universe governed by law. What appears as coincidence is simply the natural operation of the law of consciousness. For remember, everything is consciousness. Every event, every circumstance, every condition is consciousness objectified. The inheritance, the investment return, the business opportunity. These were not random events, but the natural, lawful manifestation of a shift in consciousness. They were the bridge of incidents, the means by which the imaginal act was translated into physical reality. And they appeared precisely when needed, often before my friend even realized he needed them. And this brings me back to our theme tonight. You're about to receive what you didn't even know you needed. The universe, which is your own wonderful human imagination externalized, is infinitely more intelligent, more resourceful, more loving than your conscious, reasoning mind can comprehend. It knows what you need before you ask. It provides the perfect means for the manifestation of your desires, often in ways your limited reasoning mind could never conceive. And this is crucial, you must first plant the seed in consciousness. You must first establish the state of consciousness that corresponds to your desire fulfilled. For consciousness is the only reality, and from it all things proceed. Let me share another principle that is essential to understanding how you will receive what you need. In the realm of imagination, in the world of consciousness, there is no distinction between wanting something and having it. The moment you can feel the reality of your desire, not as a future event, but as a present fact, in that moment your desire is fulfilled in consciousness. And what is fulfilled in consciousness must objectify itself in your world. Consider this statement from Scripture. Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Note the tense, believe that you have received it. Not that you will receive it in some uncertain future, but that you have already received it. This is the secret of effective prayer, of effective imagining. When you enter into an imaginal scene, implying the fulfillment of your desire, you are not engaged in wishful thinking or fantasy. You are entering into a realm more real, more substantial than the world perceived by your senses. You are entering into the realm of causation, the realm from which all visible effects proceed. And in this realm, time as you know it does not exist. There is no past, no future, only the eternal now. This is why I urge you to imagine from the end, to experience your desire as already fulfilled, to live from the state of having rather than wanting. For in consciousness, there is no distinction between the two. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, how can I feel the reality of something that contradicts all the evidence of my senses? How can I believe I have what my reason and my senses tell me I clearly do not have? This, my dear friends, is where the art of revision becomes invaluable. Before you sleep each night, I urge you to revise your day. Replay the events of the day, not as they occurred, but as you would have wanted them to occur. If you encountered lack, revise it to abundance. If you experience conflict, revise it to harmony. If you face rejection, revise it to acceptance. In doing so, you are not denying reality. You are exercising your divine prerogative to create reality. You are acknowledging that the only reality is consciousness. And consciousness can be altered through the deliberate use of your knowledge. Remember, the universe is infinitely responsive to your conscious and subconscious assumptions. It does not question or judge. It simply reflects back to you the contents of your consciousness. Therefore, by consciously revising the events of your day, you are literally rewriting the substance from which tomorrow's events will be formed. Let me illustrate this principle with another experience. A young woman in her 30s had struggled with chronic illness for most of her adult life. She had consulted countless specialists, tried numerous treatments, followed restrictive diets, all to no avail. Her condition persisted, and with it, her suffering. She came to one of my lectures skeptical but desperate. I shared with her the principle I'm sharing with you tonight, that her illness, like all conditions in her world, was simply consciousness objectified. I suggested that rather than fighting against her condition, she should shift her consciousness to embody perfect health. Each night, As she prepared for sleep, she would imagine herself engaged in activities that would be impossible in her current state, running along the beach, dancing freely, enjoying foods she had long denied herself. She would feel the freedom, the vitality, the joy of perfect health. And as evidence contrary imaginal experience presented itself, as it inevitably did, she would silently affirm, "This may be the fact. The truth is what I have experienced in my imagination." Within a month, subtle changes began to manifest. Her energy improved slightly. Certain symptoms diminished in intensity. She began to have moments, brief at first, then increasingly prolonged, of unexpected well-being. Then came the bridge of incidents. A friend mentioned an obscure medical article that led her to a specialist she had never considered consulting. This specialist identified an underlying condition that had been missed by all previous examinations. A simple adjustment to her treatment protocol produced dramatic improvements. Within 3 months, her condition had resolved to a degree she had been told was medically impossible. Now, was it the specialist who healed her? Was it the new treatment? From the limited perspective of the senses, yes. But from the higher perspective of consciousness, these were simply the means, the bridge of incidents by which her imaginal act was translated into physical reality. The true cause of her healing was the shift in consciousness that preceded all external changes. And here is the most fascinating aspect of her experience. She had no prior knowledge of this specialist. She had never heard of the treatment that ultimately resolved her condition. She received what she didn't even know she needed. But her wonderful human imagination, which is God Himself, knew. And it orchestrated the perfect means for the manifestation of her desire. This is why I tell you tonight, you're about to receive what you didn't even know you needed. Your conscious, reasoning mind, magnificent as it is limited in its understanding of the infinite ways in which your desire can be fulfilled. But your wonderful human imagination, which is God in action, knows. And it will provide not only what you need, but the perfect means for its manifestation. Let me now address a question that often arises. If my imagination creates my reality, why do I experience unwanted conditions? Why do I not immediately receive what I desire? The answer lies in understanding the law of assumption, which governs all manifestation. Your outer world reflects not what you occasionally imagine or intellectually affirm, but what you have accepted as true in the depths of your being. It reflects your habitual assumptions, your concept of yourself, and the world you inhabit. Many of you imagine desired conditions briefly, occasionally, but then return to your habitual patterns of thought and feeling that contradict your desire. You affirm abundance on Sunday, but live from a consciousness of lack from Monday through Saturday. You visualize perfect health in the evening, but embody the consciousness of illness throughout the day. The key to consistent manifestation lies in establishing a new set of habitual assumptions that align with your desire. And this requires persistence, a willingness to remain faithful to your imaginal act, despite all evidence to the contrary. Scripture tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is not a passive hope that things will somehow improve. Faith is the conscious occupation of the state desired, the living from the end as if it were already accomplished, despite all sensory evidence to the contrary. This is why I emphasize the importance of feeling in all your imaginal work. Intellectual understanding alone is insufficient. You must feel the reality of your desire with such intensity that it becomes more real to you than the evidence of your senses. For feeling is the secret, the means by which ideas are impressed upon the subconscious mind and subsequently objectified in your world. Ask yourself now, what state am I occupying? What assumptions about myself and my world am I embodying? For your assumptions, whether conscious or unconscious, are creating your reality moment by moment, day by day. If you find yourself habitually occupying states of lack, limitation, illness, or conflict, know that you have the divine power to shift to states of abundance, freedom, health, and harmony. And in doing so, you set in motion the forces that will bring you exactly what you need, often before you consciously recognize the need. Now let me address another aspect of our theme tonight. Many of you come seeking specific manifestations, a particular job, a specific relationship, a certain sum of money. And while these desires are natural and legitimate, I invite you to consider that what you truly need may transcend your specific request. Consider this analogy. A child may ask for a toy, believing with all his heart that this toy is essential to his happiness. A loving parent, seeing beyond the immediate desire to the underlying need for joy, fulfillment, and growth, may provide something entirely different, something that fulfills the true need in ways the child could not have anticipated or understood. Similarly, your wonderful human imagination, which is God Himself operating in the depths of your soul, responds not merely to your specific request, but to the essence of your desire, to the true need that underlies your conscious wanting. And it often fulfills that need in ways more wonderful, more perfect than your conscious mind could have conceived. This is why I urge you not to limit the infinite by insisting on a particular means of fulfillment. Rather, focus on the essence of your desire, the feeling of fulfillment it would bring, and allow your wonderful human imagination to provide the perfect means for its manifestation. A student of mine desired financial independence and imagined receiving a substantial inheritance from a wealthy relative. While dwelling in the feeling of financial freedom, he received an unexpected job offer that led to a career more fulfilling, more aligned with his talents and interests than anything he had previously considered. The financial independence he sought came not through inheritance, but through work that felt like play, through the joyful expression of his natural gifts. He received what he didn't even know he needed, not merely financial abundance, but purposeful, joyful engagement with life. And this brings me to another crucial principle. The purpose of manifestation is not merely the acquisition of things, but the expansion of consciousness, the full expression of your thine nature. Every desire that arises within you, whether for material possessions, relationships, career success, or creative expression, is ultimately a desire for the feeling state that you believe the fulfillment of that desire will bring. You do not desire a beautiful home merely for the structure itself, but for the feelings of comfort, security, pride, and joy you associate with such a home. Understanding this truth liberates you from attachment to specific means and opens you to receive the essence of your desire in ways that may surprise and delight you. It allows your wonderful human imagination, which knows your true needs better than your conscious mind, to provide the perfect means for the fulfillment of those needs. This brings me to another vital aspect of conscious manifestation: gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a virtuous sentiment or a social nicety. Gratitude is a powerful creative force, a state of consciousness that accelerates manifestation. When you express gratitude for what you have received in imagination, before its physical manifestation, you are acknowledging the only reality, which is consciousness. You are affirming that what exists in consciousness is real, substantial, and worthy of thanksgiving. And in doing so, you align yourself with the creative flow of the universe. I recommend that each night, as you prepare for sleep, you enter a state of gratitude for the fulfillment of your desires. Feel the gratitude you would feel if your desire were physically manifest. Experience the relief, the joy, the sense of fulfillment that the manifestation of your desire would bring. For in consciousness, it is already yours. And what exists in consciousness must, by law, objectify itself in your world. Now let me address a common misconception about the law of manifestation. Many believe that manifestation is about imposing one's will upon the universe, forcing reality to conform to one's desires through mental effort or spiritual technique. Nothing could be further from the truth. True manifestation is not an act of imposition, but an act of alignment. It is the alignment of your conscious mind with your true self, your divine nature, which already contains all that you could possibly desire. It is the recognition that you are not separate from the universe, but are the universe experiencing itself from a particular point of view. This understanding transforms the practice of manifestation from a technique for getting what you want to a process of revealing what you already are. And in this revelation lies the fulfillment of all genuine needs and desires. Consider the words attributed to Jesus. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Notice the present tense, to give you, not to withhold until you prove worthy, not to bestow at some future time when conditions are right, but to give you now in this moment. The kingdom, which encompasses all that you could possibly need or desire, is already yours. It is your inheritance as a divine being, as an individualization of God Himself. Your task is not to earn it or achieve it, but to accept it, to align your consciousness with the truth of its presence. And how do you accomplish this alignment? Through the conscious use of your wonderful human imagination. By imagining and feeling the reality of your desire fulfilled, you are acknowledging and accepting what is already yours in consciousness. You are bringing into your conscious awareness what has always existed in the depths of your being. This is why I tell you tonight you're about to receive what you didn't even know you needed. For in the infinite wisdom of your own wonderful human imagination, which is God Himself, lies the perfect knowledge of your true needs and the perfect means for their fulfillment. Let me share one more principle that is essential to understanding how you will receive what you need. All manifestation follows a pattern, a divine pattern established from the foundation of the world. This pattern is described in Scripture as follows. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. This passage is not describing a historical event that occurred in the distant past. It is describing the pattern of all manifestation, a pattern that is reenacted every time you embark upon a new creation. In the beginning refers not to a point in time, but to the origin of all creation, which is consciousness itself. God created the heavens and the earth refers to the initial conception of a desire in consciousness. And the earth was without form, and void describes the state of your desire before it is impressed upon the subconscious mind. It exists as potential, but has not yet taken form. And darkness was upon the face of the deep refers to the period of incubation, the interval between the impression of a desire upon the subconscious and its manifestation in the physical world. During this period, the desire appears to be dormant, inactive, obscured from conscious awareness. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters describes the stirring of the subconscious, the invisible activity that precedes all visible manifestation. And finally, let there be light. And there was light represents the moment of manifestation, when what was conceived in consciousness becomes objective to the senses. Understanding this pattern helps you navigate the manifestation process with patience and confidence. It reminds you that there is always an interval between the impression of a desire upon the subconscious and its physical manifestation, an interval during which you are called to remain faithful to your imaginal act, to live from the state of having rather than wanting, despite all evidence to the contrary. During this interval, this period of darkness, doubts may arise. The evidence of your senses may contradict your imaginal experience. Friends and family may question your sanity as you speak and act from a state that has not yet objectified itself in the physical world. This is the testing point, the moment when your faith in the reality of consciousness is put to the test. And it is in this moment that many abandon their creation, returning to their former state of consciousness and thereby perpetuating the very conditions they sought to change. But if you understand the pattern of manifestation, you will recognize this period of darkness, not as a sign of failure, but as a natural, necessary phase in the creative process. And you will persist in your imaginal act, knowing that what is conceived in consciousness must, by law, objectify itself in your world. As we approach the conclusion of our discussion tonight, I want to address a question that often arises. Is there anything I must do in the physical world to manifest my desire? Are there actions I must take, steps I must follow? My answer may surprise you. The only action required is the action of consciousness. All physical action flows naturally, effortlessly from the state of consciousness you occupy. When you have successfully shifted your consciousness to embody the state of your desire fulfilled, you will find yourself naturally, effortlessly taking the actions that correspond to that state. A man who truly embodies the consciousness of wealth does not need to force himself to make wise financial decisions. Such decisions flow naturally from a state of consciousness. A woman who embodies the consciousness of perfect health does not need to compel herself to adopt healthy habits. Such habits are the natural expression of her instinct. This is why I emphasize the inner work, the work of consciousness above all else. For when the within is rightfully adjusted, the without will reflect its harmony. When consciousness is aligned with your desire, all necessary action will follow with a naturalness and inevitability that requires no strain, no struggle. Now, in these final moments together, I want to leave you with a practice that encapsulates all that we have discussed tonight. As you retire to sleep this evening, I invite you to review the day not as it occurred, but as you would have wanted it to occur. Revise every event, every encounter, every circumstance to align with your highest desires. Then, from this state of revision, construct a simple scene that implies the fulfillment of your heart's desire. Make it a short, simple scene that you can easily repeat. Enter into this scene. Participate in it fully. See through your own eyes, not as an observer watching yourself from afar, but as an active participant in the unfolding drama. Feel the solidity of objects you touch. Hear the sounds that would be present. Smell the aromas that would surround you. Taste what you would taste in this moment of fulfillment. And above all, feel the emotion, the gratitude, the joy, the relief, the sense of naturalness that the fulfillment of your desire would bring. Repeat this scene, dwelling in the feeling of fulfillment, until it takes on the tones of reality, until it feels more real than your physical surroundings. Then release it, secure in the knowledge that what you have experienced in consciousness is now a reality to which your physical world must conform. And as you move through your days, encountering evidence that may contradict your imaginal experience, silently affirm, this may be the fact, but it is not the truth. The truth is what I have felt and experienced in my imagination. For facts are the shadows cast by past assumptions, while truth is the light of present consciousness. And as you remain faithful to your imaginal act, the facts will gradually, inevitably align with the truth you have established in consciousness. Remember, my dear friends, you are about to receive what you didn't even know you needed, the infinite wisdom of your own wonderful human imagination, which is God Himself, knows your true needs and the perfect means for their fulfillment. Trust in this wisdom. Rest in the assurance that what you have conceived in consciousness is already yours in reality. For consciousness is the only reality, and from it, all things proceed. The world you experience is simply your consciousness objectified, your assumptions made visible. Change your assumptions, and you change your world. It really is as simple and as profound as that. In closing, I remind you of these immortal words, be still and know that I am God. In the stillness of your consciousness, in the quiet certainty of your imaginal acts, lies the power that creates and sustains the universe. This power is not external to you, but is the very core of your being. It is your own wonderful human imagination, which is God Himself in action. Trust in this power. Rest in its perfect wisdom. And know with absolute certainty that you are about to receive what you didn't even know you needed, in ways more wonderful, more perfect than your conscious mind could ever conceive. Imagine, if you will, that your desire has already been fulfilled. Feel the joy, the relief, the overwhelming sense of gratitude that accompanies the realization of your deepest wishes. This feeling, this state of being is the key to unlocking the infinite potential that lies dormant within you. You see, the world around us is nothing more than a reflection of our inner state. What we perceive as reality is merely a shadow cast by the light of our consciousness. And just as a shadow cannot exist without light, our external experiences cannot manifest without the power of our imagination. Consider for a moment the nature of prayer. Many of us have been taught to beseech an external deity, to plead for favors from a being separate from ourselves. But I tell you now, true prayer is not a petition to an outside force. It is a recognition of the divine power that resides within each and each one of us. When you pray, You are not reaching out to a distant God. You are, in fact, awakening to the God within you. This God, this infinite creative force, is not separate from you. It is you in your truest, most essential form. And it is through this understanding that your prayers find their answer. The Bible tells us before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. This is not a promise of some future event, but a statement of an eternal truth. The answer to your prayer exists now, in this very moment. It is not something to be created, but something to be realized. Your task then is not to make your desire come true, but to align yourself with the reality in which it is already true. This is the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you can live from the end, when you can experience the joy and gratitude of your desire, as if it were already accomplished, you set in motion the forces that will bring it into your physical experience. Many of you may be thinking, but how can I feel something that hasn't happened yet? To this I say, your imagination is more real than the world you see around you. The physical world is malleable, constantly changing and reshaping itself in response to the images we hold in our minds. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed in the ground, do you dig it up every day to see if it has sprouted? Of course not. You trust in the unseen processes of nature, knowing that in due time the seed will grow into a mighty tree. Your desires are like seeds planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Once planted, they need only your faith and your unwavering assumption of their fulfillment to grow into reality. This is the true meaning of faith. It is not blind belief in something unseen. It is the evidence of things not seen. When you can feel the reality of your desire so vividly that it becomes more real to you than the physical world around you, that is faith. And it is this faith that moves mountains. Now, some of you may be wondering about the role of action in this process. Should you simply sit back and wait for your desires to manifest? Not at all. Action is indeed necessary, but it is inspired action. When you live in the end, when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you will find yourself naturally guided to take the steps that lead to manifestation. These actions will not feel like struggle or strain. They will feel natural, effortless, as if you are being carried along by an invisible current. This is because you are no longer trying to make something happen. You are simply allowing what is already true in your imagination to express itself in your physical reality. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. Every person, every circumstance you encounter is a reflection of your own consciousness. When you change your inner state, the world around you must change to reflect this new reality. This is not magic or wishful thinking. It is the operation of universal law. Let me share with you a powerful technique to help you maintain this state of living in the end. Before you go to sleep each night, replay in your mind a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. Make it as vivid and as real as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the emotions you would feel if your desire were already realized. As you drift off to sleep in this state, you are impressing this reality upon your subconscious mind. And it is your subconscious mind that shapes your world. By doing this night after night, you are reprogramming your subconscious to accept this new reality as truth. During your waking hours, whenever doubts or fears arise, and they will, for that is the nature of the human mind, gently return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Do not fight against your negative thoughts. Simply replace them with the feeling of your desire accomplished. This practice requires persistence and patience. You are overcoming a lifetime of habit of seeing yourself as separate from your desires. But I promise you, with consistent application, you will begin to see changes in your world. At first, they may be small, synchronicity here, a fortunate coincidence there. But as you persist, these changes will grow larger and more frequent until your entire world has reshaped itself to match your inner vision. Now let us address a common concern. Many of you may be thinking, but what if my desire doesn't manifest immediately? What if weeks or months pass and I see no change? To this I say time is an illusion of the physical world. In the realm of imagination, where all things are possible, time does not exist. Your desire is fulfilled now, in the eternal present moment. The time it takes to appear in your physical reality is determined by your ability to maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The more consistently you can live in the end, the more quickly you will see results in your outer world. But do not make the mistake of looking for signs or trying to figure out how your desire will manifest. This is a form of doubt, a denial of the reality of your imaginal act. Your only task is to persist in the assumption that what you desire is already yours. The how and when are not your concern. Trust in the wisdom of your subconscious mind to bring about the fulfillment of your desire in ways that you cannot even imagine. Remember, the outer world is a delayed reflection of your inner state. Just as it takes time for light from distant stars to reach the earth, it may take time for the changes in your consciousness to fully manifest in your physical reality. But make no mistake, the change has already occurred the moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is why I say to you now, your prayer is about to be answered. In the realm of imagination, where all creation takes place, it is already answered. Your task now is to align yourself with this truth, to live and move, and have your being in the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. Let us consider for a moment the nature of consciousness. Most of us go through life believing that we are our bodies, our thoughts, our emotions. But I tell you now, you are none of these things. You are pure awareness, the observer of all these phenomena. Your true self is not affected by the circumstances of your life. It is not limited by your past experiences or your current situation. It is infinite, eternal, and all-powerful. When you identify with this true self, you tap into a wellspring of creative power that knows no bounds. This is the meaning behind the biblical statement, I and my Father are one. Your human personality, with all its limitations and fears, is not separate from the infinite creative power of the universe. They are one and the same. When you truly understand and internalize this truth, you will see that there is nothing you cannot be, do, or have. Now, some of you may be thinking, but what about other people? Don't they have their own free will? How can I manifest a specific person or situation that involves others? To this I say there are no others. There is only one consciousness, individualized in billions of forms, but ultimately one. The people in your life are playing the roles that you have assigned to them through your beliefs and assumptions. When you change your conception of yourself and others, they must change to reflect your new awareness. This is not about controlling others, but about realizing that the entire world is yourself pushed out. This understanding brings with it a great responsibility. If you are the operating power in your world, if your consciousness is creating your reality, then you must be vouching about what you accept as true. Every thought, every assumption, every belief is a seed that will grow into experience. This is why it is so crucial to guard the door of your mind. Be selective about what you allow to take root in your consciousness. Choose thoughts and assumptions that align with your desires, that reflect the reality you wish to experience. And when you find yourself faced with undesirable circumstances, remember these are not obstacles to be overcome. They are opportunities to practice your power of revision. You can literally revise any event in your imagination. And if you do so with conviction and persistence, you will see your revised version replace the original in your physical experience. This power of revision is not limited to current or future events. You can even revise your past. If there are memories that pain you, Experiences that you feel have limited you in some way, you can go back in your imagination and rewrite those scenes. As you do this, you will find that your present circumstances begin to change, aligning themselves with your new, revised past. Now, I want to address a question that may be arising in some of your minds. If I have this power to create my reality, why have I experienced hardship and suffering in my life? This is a profound question, and the answer lies in understanding the nature of consciousness and its evolution. You see, your life experiences, both positive and negative, are not punishments or rewards from an external source. They are the natural outpicturing of your state of consciousness. Often we are not aware of our deepest beliefs and assumptions. These subconscious patterns shape our reality without our conscious awareness. The challenges and difficulties you have faced in your life have served a purpose. They have brought you to this moment, to this understanding of your true power. Without them, you might never have sought a deeper truth, never have awakened to your divine nature. Moreover, what we perceive as hardship or suffering is often the breaking down of old patterns to make way for new growth. Just as a caterpillar must struggle to break free from its cocoon, strengthening its wings in the process, so too do our struggles strengthen us and prepare us for higher states of consciousness. But now that you are aware of your power, now that you understand the law of assumption, you no longer need to learn through suffering. You can consciously choose your state of being, and in doing so, choose your experiences. This is the meaning of the biblical injunction to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. As you change your habitual thought patterns, as you cultivate new assumptions about yourself and the world, you literally transform your entire experience of reality. Remember, consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being, you become. This is why it is so important to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to live from the end. By doing so, you are choosing to be conscious of your desire as an accomplished fact. As you go through your day, continually remind yourself of this truth. Whatever situation you find yourself in, whatever circumstances you encounter, ask yourself, how would I feel if my desire were already fulfilled? Then assume that feeling. Let it permeate your entire being. This practice may feel strange or unnatural at first. Your senses, conditioned by a lifetime of external focus, may rebel against this new way of being, but persist. Remember, your senses show you the world as it was, not as it is. They reflect the beliefs and assumptions you held in the past. As you maintain your new assumption, your senses will gradually align with your new reality. Now, let us delve deeper into the mechanics of manifestation. Many of you may be wondering about the role of detachment in this process. Should you be constantly focused on your desire, or should you let go and let God? The truth is, both attachment and detachment play a role in the manifestation process. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you live from the end, you are attaching yourself to the reality of your desire. You are claiming it as your own here and now. But at the same time, you must detach from the need for your desire to manifest in a particular way or within a specific time frame. This detachment comes naturally when you truly believe in the reality of your imaginal form. Just as you don't anxiously wait for the sun to rise each morning, knowing with certainty that it will, so too should you rest in the certainty that your desire is already yours. This state of relaxed assumption is the key to effortless manifestation. It is the Sabbath spoken of in Scripture, the rest we enter into when we cease from our own labors and allow the Lord to work on our behalf. As you go about your daily life, maintain an attitude of quiet confidence. Know that the entire universe is working to bring about the fulfillment of your desire. Your only task is to remain faithful to your assumption, to persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Now, some of you may be experiencing what seems like a delay in the manifestation of your desire. Perhaps you've been practicing these principles for some time without seeing tangible results. To you, I say, do not be discouraged. Remember, what you are doing is reprogramming your entire subconscious mind, overcoming a lifetime of limiting beliefs and assumptions. This process takes time, but it is inevitable. Just a seed planted in the ground will inevitably grow into a plant, so too will your assumption inevitably manifest in your physical reality. The only variable is time, and time is determined by the intensity of your faith and the consistency of your assumption. If you find your faith wavering, if doubts and fears arise, do not fight against them. Simply acknowledge them and return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Every time you do this, you are strengthening your new assumption, making it more and more real to you. Remember, the outer world is a delayed reflection of your inner state. Continue to live from the end. Continue to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and you will see your world transform before your eyes. Now, let us address another aspect of this work that many find challenging, the concept of everyone is you pushed out. This principle states that every person in your life is a reflection of your own consciousness. They play the roles that you have assigned to them through your beliefs and assumptions. This can be a difficult concept to accept, especially when we encounter people who seem to oppose our desires or who behave in ways that cause us pain. But I urge you to consider, if everyone is you pushed out, then changing others becomes as simple as changing yourself. Instead of trying to manipulate or control others, focus on changing your conception of them. See them as you would like them to be. Assume that they are already behaving in ways that align with your desire. As you do this consistently, you will be amazed at how their behavior towards you begins to change. This principle extends beyond individual relationships to encompass your entire world experience. The events you see on the news, the state of the economy, the condition of the environment, all of these are reflections of collective human consciousness. And as an individualization of that consciousness, you have the power to influence these collective states through your own assumptions. Imagine the implications of this understanding. By assuming a state of peace and harmony within yourself, you contribute to the manifestation of peace in the world. By assuming abundance and prosperity, you play a part in creating a more prosperous world for all. This is the true meaning of being the change you wish to see in the world. It is not about external action, although inspired action will naturally flow from your changed state. It is about embodying the state of consciousness that corresponds to your desired reality. As you practice living from the end, as you persistently assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you will begin to experience what I call signs following. These are external events and circumstances that confirm your new assumption. They may seem like coincidences or strokes of good fortune, but they are in fact the natural results of your changed consciousness. When you experience these signs following, do not make the mistake of becoming overly excited or attached to them. Simply acknowledge them as confirmation that the law is working and continue to live from the end. Remember, your desire is not something to be achieved in the future. It is a present fact in your imagination, and it is from this present fact that you must live. Now, I want to address a common misconception about this work. Many people believe that the law of assumption can only be used for material gain or personal advantage. Nothing could be further from the truth. The highest use of this law is for spiritual awakening and the realization of your true divine nature. As you practice living from the end, as you cultivate the ability to assume states of consciousness at will, you are in fact preparing yourself for the ultimate assumption, the realization of your oneness with God. This is the true purpose of all desire, to lead you back to your divine source. Every desire you have, whether for material success, loving relationships or personal growth, is ultimately a desire for the feeling those things will give you. And that feeling is a state of consciousness, a way of being. As you master the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are mastering the art of consciously choosing your state of being. This is why I say that desire is the august messenger of God. It is through our desires that we are led to explore different stored consciousness, different ways of being. And through this exploration, we eventually come to realize our true nature as infinite, eternal beings of pure awareness. So do not judge your desires as good or bad, spiritual or material. All desires serve the ultimate purpose of awakening you to your true self. Embrace them. Use them as opportunities to practice the law of assumption. And watch as they lead you to ever higher states of consciousness. As we conclude, remember this, your prayer is already answered. The power to manifest your desires lies within you. It's not about making things happen, but aligning with the reality where they've already occurred. Your imagination is the creative force shaping your world. What you consistently imagine and feel as real will inevitably manifest. This isn't wishful thinking, but a fundamental law of consciousness. Practice living from the end. Feel the joy and gratitude of your fulfilled desire. Let this feeling permeate your being. As you maintain this state, your outer world will reshape itself to match your inner vision. Remember, everyone and everything in your life reflects your consciousness. Change your conception of yourself and others, and watch as your reality transforms. Persistence is key. Your only task is to remain faithful to your assumption. Trust in the perfect timing of the universe. Release attachment to how or when your desire will manifest. Every challenge is an opportunity to practice revision. You can rewrite any event in your imagination, changing your past and present. Your desires are divine messages, leading you to explore different states of consciousness. Embrace them as stepping stones to spiritual awakening. As you master the art of conscious assumption, you're preparing for the ultimate realization, your oneness with the divine. This is the true purpose of all desire and manifestation. Go forth with the knowledge that you are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness creates your reality. Live from this understanding and watch as miracles unfold in your life. Your prayer is answered. Your desire is fulfilled. It is done. Imagine, if you will, that your life is not a single fixed timeline, but rather an infinite tapestry of potential realities, all existing simultaneously. You, my beloved, are the master weaver of this tapestry, constantly moving between these realities with each thought, each belief, and each assumption you hold to be true. But how can you know when you have shifted? How can you recognize that you are now experiencing a different version of your world? The first sign, and perhaps the most profound, is a sudden and inexplicable shift in your emotional state. You may find yourself feeling lighter, more joyful, more at peace with the world around you. This is not mere coincidence or a fleeting mood. It is a reflection of the new reality you have stepped into. In this new world, the very fabric of your being resonates at a higher frequency, attuned to the infinite love and abundance that is your true nature. Consider for a moment the times when you've experienced a sudden uplift in your mood, a sense of optimism that seemed to come from nowhere. This, my dear friends, is not random. It is a clear indication that you have shifted your consciousness to a reality where joy and positivity are your natural state of being. You have, in essence, tuned yourself to a different station on the cosmic radio, one that broadcasts endless possibilities and fulfilled desires. But the signs of your shift go beyond mere emotions. Look around you, observe the world with new eyes, and you will begin to notice subtle changes in your environment. Perhaps you find that traffic lights turn green just as you approach, or that you consistently find the perfect parking spot. These are not mere coincidences. They are manifestations of your new reality, one in which the universe conspires in your favor, smoothing your path and aligning circumstances to your benefit. In this new reality, you may also notice that your relationships begin to transform. People who once irritated you now seem more tolerable, even pleasant. Conflicts that once seemed insurmountable now resolve themselves with surprising ease. This is because in this new world you are vibrating at a frequency of love and understanding, and the people around you cannot help but respond in kind. You have shifted to a reality where harmony and mutual respect are the norm, not the exception. Your physical body, too, provides evidence of your shift. You may find that chronic ailments begin to ease, that you have more energy, that you sleep more soundly. This is because in your new reality, health and vitality are your natural state. Your body is simply aligning itself with the perfection that you have always been, that you have now allowed yourself to experience. Another compelling sign of your shift is a newfound sense of synchronicity in your life. You may find that you think of someone only to have them call you moments later, or you may come across exactly the information you need, precisely when you need it. These synchronicities are not mere chance. They are the universe responding to your thoughts and desires, confirming that you are in perfect alignment with your true self. In this new reality, you may also notice a shift in your perception of time. Days may seem to flow more smoothly, without the usual sense of rush or urgency. You accomplish more, yet feel less stressed. This is because you have shifted to a reality where time is abundant, where you are always in the right place at the right time, effortlessly achieving your goals and fulfilling your desires. Your dreams, too, may become more vivid, more meaningful. You may find yourself having prophetic dreams, or waking with solutions to problems that had previously baffled you. This is because in your new reality, the veil between your conscious and subconscious mind has thinned, allowing you greater access to the infinite wisdom that resides within you. One of the most telling signs that you have shifted realities is a newfound sense of purpose and direction in your life. Goals that once seemed unattainable now feel within reach. You may find yourself taking inspired action, moving confidently towards your desires without doubt or fear. This is because in your new reality, you are fully aligned with your true purpose, and the universe conspires to support you in every way. But perhaps the most profound sign of all is a shift in your sense of self. You may find that you no longer identify solely with your physical body or your personal history. Instead, you begin to recognize yourself as a vast, infinite being capable of creating any reality you choose. This expanded sense of self is the true you, the eternal you now fully expressed in your everyday experience. My dear friends, these signs are not meant to be a checklist, something to anxiously monitor or force into being. They are natural expressions of your true state, glimpses of the infinite potential that you are. The very fact that you are hearing these words, contemplating these ideas, is itself a sign that you have already begun to shift. But you may ask, how can I consciously create these shifts? How can I move myself into these new, more desirable realities? The answer, my beloved, is simpler than you might imagine. It lies in the power of your imagination and your unwavering faith in the reality of your desires. To shift reality, you must first understand that your imagination is not a fantasy, not a mere daydream, but the very substance of reality itself. When you imagine a desired state, you are not creating something new, but rather tuning into a reality that already exists. Your task is simply to accept it, to feel its truth, to live from that state here and now. Begin by choosing a desire, something you wish to experience in your reality. It could be anything: perfect health, a loving relationship, abundant wealth, or a sense of deep inner peace. Now close your eyes and imagine that this desire is already fulfilled. See it, feel it, taste it, touch it in your mind's eye. Make it as real and as vivid as you possibly can. But do not stop there. The key to shifting realities is to persist in this imaginal act. You must live from the state of your wish fulfilled, not just for a moment or an hour, but consistently, persistently, until it becomes your dominant feeling state. This is what I mean when I say assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must become feeling the person you would be if your desire were already a fact. As you persist in this state, you will begin to notice the signs we have discussed. Your emotions will shift, your outer world will respond, synchronicities will abound. These are all confirmations that you are indeed experiencing a new reality. But do not become attached to these signs or anxiously await them. Your only task is to persist in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to live as if your desire is already a fact. Remember, my dear friends, that time is no barrier in the realm of imagination. In your imagination, you can be and have anything you desire instantly. There is no waiting, no process of becoming. In the moment you truly accept and feel the reality of your imagined state, you have shifted. The outer world may take time to reflect this shift, but make no mistake. The shift has occurred the moment you accepted it as real. Now, some of you may be wondering about the mechanics of this process. How can simply imagining and feeling create such profound shifts in reality? The answer lies in the nature of consciousness itself. You are not a physical being having occasional spiritual experiences. You are an infinite spiritual being having a temporary physical experience. Your consciousness, your awareness is the one and only reality. Everything you perceive as out there is really occurring within you. The entire universe exists within your consciousness. When you shift your consciousness through imagination and feeling, you are quite literally shifting the entire universe. This is why your outer world invariably conforms to your inner assumptions. It has no choice. It is not separate from you. It is you extended in space and time. When you grasp this truth, when you truly understand that there is no out there separate from your consciousness, you will understand the true power you wield in every moment. But my beloved, do not let this power frighten you or overwhelm you. It is your natural state, your birthright. You have been wielding this power all along, creating your reality in every moment. The only difference now is that you are becoming conscious of the process, learning to direct it deliberately rather than unconsciously. As you begin to consciously shift your reality, you may encounter doubts or fears. Old beliefs and habits of thought may resist the new state you are attempting to assume. This is natural and to be expected. Remember, these doubts and fears are not obstacles to be overcome, but simply parts of the old reality you are leaving behind. When doubts arise, do not fight them or try to push them away. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Your persistence in the new state will eventually dissolve these doubts, just as the sun inevitably disperses the morning mist. It's important to understand that shifting realities is not about forcing change or struggling against your current circumstances. It is about allowing yourself to be who you truly are, to experience the abundance and joy that is your natural state. You are not creating something new, but rather allowing your true self to express itself more fully in your experience. As you continue to practice living from the state of your wish fulfilled, you may find that your desires themselves begin to change. What once seemed important may no longer hold the same appeal. This too is a sign of your shift. As you align more closely with your true self, your desires naturally evolve to reflect your expanding consciousness. My dear friends, the process of shifting realities is not a one-time event, but a continuous unfolding. Each shift opens up new possibilities, new potentials to explore. You are on an eternal journey of self-discovery and self-expression, constantly expanding and evolving. But remember, there is no ultimate destination, no final reality to reach. Each reality is perfect and complete in itself, a full expression of some aspect of your infinite being. Your task is not to reach some imagined perfect state, but to fully enjoy and appreciate each reality you experience, knowing that you have the power to shift at any moment. As you become more adept at consciously shifting realities, you may find that the very nature of your experience begins to change. The boundaries between different realities may begin to blur. You may have moments of expanded awareness where you can sense multiple realities simultaneously, understanding how they all fit together in the grand tapestry of existence. This expanded awareness can be both exhilarating and challenging. You may find yourself navigating between different versions of reality with increasing ease, but also with a growing sense of responsibility. For with great power comes great responsibility, and the power to consciously create your reality is the greatest power of all. But do not let this responsibility weigh you down. Remember that you are always supported, always guided by your higher self, by the infinite intelligence that is your true nature. Trust in this guidance, listen to your intuition, and you will always be led to the reality that serves your highest good and the highest good of all. As you continue to shift and expand your consciousness, you may also find that your sense of identity begins to change. The you that you thought you were, defined by your personal history, your physical attributes, your social roles, begins to feel less solid, less real. Instead, you begin to identify more with the awareness that observes all these things, the unchanging consciousness that persists through all your shifts and changes. This expanding sense of self is not a loss, but a tremendous gain. You are not losing yourself, but rather discovering your true self, the infinite, eternal being that you have always been. As you embrace this larger identity, you will find a deep sense of peace and security that nothing in the external world can shake. From this expanded state of awareness, you begin to see that all the different realities you experience are like waves on the ocean of your consciousness. Each wave is unique and beautiful, but none of them define or limit the ocean itself. You are that ocean, vast, deep, and infinitely creative. As you navigate through these different realities, you may find that your purpose begins to shift as well. Where once you may have been focused on personal gain or achievement, you may now feel called to serve others, to help them awaken to their own power to create reality. For as you shift and expand, you naturally lift others around you, inspiring them by your example. But remember, my dear friends, that even this desire to serve is just another experience, another reality to explore. Do not become attached to it or make it into a burden. Allow it to flow through naturally as an expression of your expanding love and awareness. As we near the end of our time together, I want to remind you that the side which discussed the emotional shifts, the synchronicities, the changes in your outer world are not the goal. They are simply signposts, confirmations of the inner shift that has already occurred. The true shift happens within, in the quiet sanctuary of your own consciousness. Your task, your joy, your privilege is simply to be aware, to watch with wonder and gratitude as your reality unfolds, knowing that it is all a reflection of your own magnificent, infinite being. Whether you experience what you consider positive or negative circumstances, know that it is all you, all an expression of some aspect of your consciousness. Embrace it all. Learn from it all. Enjoy it all. For in the end, this is why you are here, not to reach some final perfect state, but to experience the joy of creating, the thrill of exploration, the wonder of discovering yourself anew in each moment. My beloved, you leave here today, know that you have already shifted. The very fact that you have heard and contemplated these ideas is proof that you are no longer the same person you were when you arrived. You have expanded, you have grown, you have shifted to a new level of awareness. Go forth now and live from this new awareness. Allow yourself to be surprised and delighted by the new reality that unfolds around you. Trust in your power to shift at any moment, to create anew in every instant. For you are the operant power, the one and only creator of your experience. Remember, the entire universe exists to express the magnificence that you are. Every person, every circumstance, every experience is a gift, an opportunity to know yourself more fully, to express your true nature more completely. Embrace it all with love and gratitude, knowing that it is all you, all a reflection of your infinite eternal being. And so, my dear friends, as we bring this discourse to a close, I invite you to take a moment to feel the reality of who you truly are. Close your eyes if you wish, and allow yourself to expand beyond the confines of your physical body, beyond the limitations of your personal history, beyond even the boundaries of this present moment. Feel yourself as the vast, infinite awareness that you are. Feel the power that flows through you, the power to create worlds, to shift realities, to experience the fullness of existence in every moment. Feel the love that you are, the love that embraces all of creation, that knows no boundaries or conditions. From this expanded state, look at your life with new eyes. See the perfection in every detail, the divine order in every circumstance. Know that you have created it all, and that you have the power to create anew in every moment. Feel the freedom that comes with this knowledge, the joy of being the conscious creator of your experience. As you move forward from this moment, carry this awareness with you. Let it infuse every thought, every word, every action. Live from the state of your wishes fulfilled, not as a technique or a practice, but as the natural expression of who you truly are. For you are the blessing you seek, the love you desire, the abundance you crave. You are all of it here and now. Go forth, my beloved, and create consciously. Shift realities with joy and abandon. Explore the infinite possibilities that lie within you. And always remember the truth of who you are, the one and only creator of your experience, the infinite, eternal being expressing itself in human form. You are blessed, you are loved, you are infinite. Now go and live from that truth, and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. For truly the kingdom of heaven is within you, and it is from this inner realm that all outer realities spring forth. Thank you, my dear friends, for allowing me to share these truths with you. May your journey of conscious creation be filled with joy, wonder, and endless discovery. Remember, you are the miracle you seek, the power you revere, the love you long for. Embrace this truth, live from this truth, and watch as miracles unfold in every area of your life. Go now in peace and in power, knowing that you carry within you the ability to shift to any reality you desire. The choice is yours, the power is yours, the creation is yours. Use it wisely, use it lovingly, and above all, use it consciously. For in your conscious use of this power lies the key to your freedom, your fulfillment, and your ultimate realization of who you truly are. And so it is. Amen.